What's up, guys? My name's Dean, or as most of you know me, Twisty. It's time to wrap up round 9 of the AFL season. This week we're 9 rounds down, 13 to go. Wait, maybe there's 14 to go. We'll have a look in a sec. After round 9, the ladder sits as follows. North Melbourne on top, 9 and zip. At the other end of the table, Fremantle, zip and 9. No real big movers this weekend. Ladder pretty much stayed the same. The Hawks went down a spot, the Eagles went up. I think the Blues stayed in their position. Melbourne is the sneaky one, just 5% out of the 8 at the moment. But let's get stuck into it. So the first game was Friday night's game. Hawthorn and the Swans. 14-point win to the Sydney Swans on Friday night. For whatever reason, I don't have Hannibridge's disposals there, but I'm sure he had more than 30, so definitely the Swans were very good on Friday night. I thought that Hawthorn would probably be a little bit off considering the scenario and the circumstances that were going on with Jared Ruffhead, so I think that they did a pretty damn good performance given, you know, what a tough week it's been, and they really, they took it to Sydney, like, after the first quarter. I think the first quarter was really where Sydney got out to that big lead and were able to maintain a big lead for the majority of the match, and only until late did Hawthorn manage to sneak back into the contest and get a couple of results go their way. But definitely the Swans, good bounce back win after last week's loss to the Tigers, so very good effort from them. 4 goals to Gunson and 3 to Buddy. So those are the big goal kickers of that game. Let's take a look at Saturday now, and this is the one upset that I kind of didn't see coming throughout the round here, and it was Collingwood beating Geelong by 24 points. Pendlebury was the best man on the ground, had 3 goals and had 26 touches. He just keeps getting back to his good form. Mason Cox, when I saw he had the ball in his hand, I know there was a lot of talk after about the bounce. I was like to my dad, I was like, he doesn't know how to bounce the ball. This is before he bounced it, and then he did bounce it, runs in and kicks a goal. I thought that was pretty funny. And then there was so much talk after it about like, oh, you know, he finally bounced the ball. And I was like, I said that first. Anyway, and then Hawkins kicked 4 for the Cats. Duncan had 25 disposals. I think Dangerfield had 22. So just off that top disposal getter. But Geelong, they get the flag favourites tag one week, and then they get beaten by Collingwood, who have had the wood on them the last couple of times. I think they've beaten them 3 in a row now, Collingwood. So there's a team that is slowly once again progressing up into the world as we know it. But I still think they're a little bit away from getting themselves into the finals. And Cloak kicked, I think, 4 goals in the VFL, so he could be back next week as well. Next game, the Crows and the Suns. It was a hiding by 75 points. Walker kicked 5. Big win for the Crows, as I said. Malira, McGovern had 3 each. Sloan had 27 disposals. And the Gold Coast Suns, their injury list is just shocking. I was taking a look at it, I think, last week, and I saw that there was 11 players of their best 22 missing this week. So when you've got your NEFL side in, or at least half your NEFL side in, then that's really hard to, you know, win games. Generally, if you win the flag, you use, I think it's 34 players or less for the season. I think the Gold Coast have already used pretty much everyone on their list because they just have to. They got about 17 men on their injury list, which is just ridiculous. The Crows, big win, as you'd expect. They are very much a strong side that does beat teams that they are expected to beat. So I think Adelaide, if they can hold off the second half of the year, I think they've got a slightly easier draw the second half, so they should be able to hold off and get some good wins there. Now, Port Adelaide and the Eagles on Saturday twilight. The Eagles got this win, only 8 points in the end, although it was a little bit more than that. I think Port Adelaide just got close towards the end of the year, towards the end of the game. Sorry. Josh Kennedy kicked 7 goals. He was outstanding. Aaron Young kicked 4 for Port Adelaide. Now, he's been a little bit of a revelation down there in their forward line for Port Adelaide. I think he was a defender for the majority of last year, and he's just come across into that forward line, and he's done a nice replacement for Jay Schultz, although I still think Port Adelaide need Jay Schultz if they're going to push back into the finals. He just gives them that different look up forward compared to Dixon or you know, a Dixon. Charlie Dixon. And so they definitely would need someone else in that forward line. Robbie Gray had 28 touches. Now, he might get suspended for the trip that he did. I think he's already had 2 fines so far. So if he gets a 3rd fine, Robbie Gray could miss a week in eligibility for the Brownlow. That's disappointing for him if that happens. And the Eagles, who got knocked out? Gaff off Pittard. Or, no, it wasn't Pittard, was it? It was Tom Jonas, the idiot that knocked out Andrew Gaff. He should get 3 to 4 weeks for that. I know if you look at it real time, it's minusculely late, maybe like a second late, but I still think that the contact was just not needed. It's ridiculous. A big elbow to the head. Like, what is your brain thinking to you at that stage? Like, I don't understand. Eagles big winners there in that one against the Power. Saturday night, the first game was surprisingly not on Channel 7 for 2 Melbourne sides. Clearly no one gave a damn. North Melbourne and Carlton. North Melbourne, big win. As you'd expect, they go to 9-0. First time ever, I think, in their history there. Lindsay Thomas and Goldstein kicked 3 each. Dalsano had 28 touches. And Robbie Tarrant had 22. He's close to All-Australian form at the moment, Robbie Tarrant. He's a very good defender, very good player. For the Kangaroos and for the Blues, Jones kicked a couple of goals and then singles all around. Gibbs, Kerridge and Doherty had 29 disposals apiece. But Carlton, their streak of 4 in a row ends here. But let's take a look at North Melbourne, who've won 9 in a row. This is their run home over the last, 14, 15 rounds here. They play 9 top 8 sides. The sides in orange there, and they've got the bye round 15, and the 4 sides that they play that aren't currently sitting in the top 8 are Richmond, who they play at Bloodstone Arena on Friday night in a couple of weeks, Port Adelaide at Etihad, Collingwood at Etihad, and then St Kilda at Etihad. So rounds 17, 18, and 19, they would want to lock those wins away north to make sure that they are secured in the finals. I know that they're 13 or 9 and zip or whatever at the moment, but you never know what could happen here if they get knocked off by Sydney at the SCG, which we expect them to probably lose that game, then if you lose a game like to a Richmond, who are, trying to get their season back on track, then you look at Geelong, Hawthorn and Adelaide, and you start to worry a little bit. You lose those 3, they're then on a 5-game losing streak, and then West Coast at Domain. So North Melbourne really need to pick up an extra 1 or 2 wins here early on in this run home, and then the last 4 games of the season, you don't really want to be relying on a win there because you play the Dogs at Etihad, Hawks at the MCG, Sydney at the Bloodstone Arena, and then you play the Giants in the last round. So they really want to get a move on North Melbourne here, and they needed to do 9 and zip, which is what they've done. So they got a very difficult run home. Let's see how they go about it. But moving on to the other Saturday night game, the Dockers and the Tigers. Richmond big winners here, 38 points. Cochin had 39 disposals, was easily the best player on the ground. Lockie Neal had 37 for the Dockers. Ballantyne kicked 3. 2 each to Edwards, Rewalt, and Miles for the Tigers. Now, Richmond, they're getting their season back on track. This is one of the most boring games ever to watch. Very rainy, very ugly. Richmond probably could have won by 4 or 5 more goals had they kicked a little bit more accurately, but never mind. Dreamtime at the G coming up this week. I'm not going to be there. I've got a 21st, so good stuff, Richmond. Hopefully they'll win over Essendon, make it 3 in a row going into that game against North Melbourne. So that'll be interesting if they can get over this one. But let's keep going. Melbourne and Brisbane. Melbourne, all right, I'll give you credit here. You beat the sides that you've needed to beat on paper, right? That's all you got to do. So just keep doing that. Just keep doing that, Melbourne. If you beat the sides below you, then you end up in a higher position. So they won here by 50-odd points or 60 points or something in the end. Hogan kicked 5. Tommy Bell kicked 3 for the Lions. Harms kicked 4 as well. They locked him away as well, I think on a new 2 or 3 year deal. So well done to Melbourne for keeping him. Tommy Bugg had a good game, 31. Billy Stretch, 31 as well. And the Lions, they're in disarray right now. I watched their first quarter and it was atrocious to watch. They're just missing easy targets, going for terrible kicks. Like they were trying to take the game on a little bit, but they were just missing by a long way in their skill level efforts. So Melbourne challenge this week again against Port Adelaide. If you do that, they're a team that's below you, that's pushing up. So if you can knock those teams off, then you're certainly with a chance for the finals. But I don't quite see you getting there yet because I just think that the teams inside the 8 at the moment are going to be very difficult to knock out. Now, let's look at the game of the round, or supposedly the game of the round. It was the Giants and the Western Bulldogs, 25-point winners. The GWS Giants. Jeremy Cameron kicked 5. Heath Shaw had 38 disposals and 36 of those were kicks, which is a new record. So that's unbelievable. Since like the 80s or 70s was the last time someone had 36 kicks. But I don't think they know how to handball back in those days. So he did a very good job, Heath Shaw, to have 36 kicks. Oh my god. Just kept switching it. And I think it was 36 kicks at 100% efficiency too. So, unbelievably good stuff there. The Dogs, we knew it was always going to be difficult for them to win away, especially at Spotless Stadium. If they're playing at Monaco Oval, I think that the Dogs might have been a little bit of a sneakier chance, but at Spotless Stadium, I think the Giants are going to be very unbeatable up there this year. Like, even Sydney will have a very tough time of beating them at Spotless Stadium this year. And as I've said about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I said the Giants are a top 4 contending side. They could get there. I think they might just finish outside that top 4 come the end of the year, but I definitely think that they are a very good chance at the top 4. Whether or not they can win away, they got a big game against Adelaide next week, so we'll definitely see where they're at that stage. Now, after round 9, the Coleman Riddle race, Buddy leads with 37 goals, averaging 4.1 goals per game. Let's take a look, though, at Jeremy Cameron sitting there at the bottom on 21 goals. He's played 4 less games than everyone, and he's averaging 4.2 goals per game. So 0.1 of a more, 1% of a more goal than Buddy, something like that. So you never know. Jeremy Cameron, I reckon he's going to sneak up there. I don't think he's going to win it unless he has a couple of bags of 10, but definitely he's stormed into this top race, and even with Steve Johnson, who was the Giants' leading goal kicker for the majority of the season, is now equal with Jeremy Cameron there. But Franklin, big lead, really. He's got a 5-goal lead on Lynch and Kennedy, and then another 5-goal lead on Jared Waite. So that's a 10-goal lead, really, between anyone who is trying to get up there, like Jenkins or Hogan or Gunston or Rewald or Stringer or, you know, these people. But Jeremy Cameron's the one mover who I can see maybe pushing up there. But there's plenty of footy to go for the season. Last game of the round, let's finish this off. St Kilda beat Essendon. Essendon, you know, they did alright. Mitch Brown kicked 4 goals. I didn't even realise, but thank you for Supercoach points, sir. Josh Bruce kicked 5. Jack Stephen had 40 disposals, 20 kicks, 20 handballs. Nicely done then. St Kilda, I think they needed probably a little confidence boost to get their win back in their sails. I think that's the way of saying it. Because they've just been a little bit flat the last couple of weeks, probably from those close losses, just really a little bit disappointed in their performance, but it's good to see them get some reward with a win. Granted, it is only over Essendon, but a win is a win. You take it every day of the week. 4 points. It's worth it. But that is it for today's wrap-up. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a big thumbs up if you did enjoy. We'll see you guys on Friday for the round preview of round 10. So I'll see you guys over there.